Hey everyone, Eric Watson here, freelance writer, player of games, writer of words, recorder of videos, and a tabletop role-playing aficionado. I have a major announcement regarding our weekly live-streamed campaigns. We are switching days from Fridays to Sundays. So when we first started doing this about 10 years ago, we actually started on Sundays. And then sometime around our second or third campaign, we switched to Fridays. That was like 8 years ago. And our lives are definitely not the same in terms of work, life, family, all that pesky stuff that gets in the way of playing tabletop RPGs together. And, we've had to start later and later in the evenings over the years. And people, including me, are just that much more exhausted even going into the start of our session. So recently, I called a group meeting, which is honestly something I should have been doing more often over the years. I realized that basically every time that we were getting together, we were on camera. Session zeros were live streamed. Even our regular Let's Plays that we do are live streamed. So we hadn't really had a good chance to have a serious discussion about our campaigns or the flow of how everything was going or our schedules. And in that meeting, we had some really great discussions overall about all those factors, and switching our schedule looks like the best improvement we can make for our group going forward. That way, everyone is coming off of a weekend rather than a super busy week, and we can all feel more comfortable and willing to engage with a virtual tabletop and all the social battery that is demanded of you basically when you sit down to play a tabletop RPG. I do realize that swapping days may be horrible news for some of you who count on tuning in every Friday for D&D shenanigans. I do apologize. But please realize that I will always prioritize the well-being and support of my friend group over any kind of schedules or algorithms or the live show in general. And that was something I wanted to make very clear during the meeting that we had. That being said, we do have some advantages. We've already been live streaming on Sundays over the last year, I think, as we've been doing our second playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3, and many of you already tuned into that. So now we're just doing our D&D campaign instead. What does that mean for Baldur's Gate? Well, the easiest thing to do is to just swap the days. So that means playing BG3 on Fridays. There is always a possibility that could change. I know my patron players have started whispering about maybe doing the patron games on Fridays, for example, but for now, and at least on weeks that I don't do patron games, we're going to do Baldur's Gate 3 on, or whatever game I guess we're currently playing, because I don't know if we've been playing that one so much, I don't know if we're going to do a third playthrough, but whatever game we end up playing next on Fridays, and then doing our weekly D&D campaign on Sundays. And then one last bit, I'm also moving our cutoff time up a bit earlier. Normally we go from around 10 p.m. to midnight Central U.S. time zone, but I totally realize the 2 hour straight is a big ask for folks without any kind of break. In fact, even when I run the patron games, we tend to go, even though we go a full like 3 hours, sometimes longer, I do have a solid 10-minute break somewhere in between. And it's late at night, and now we're going to be going into the work week by having our D&D sessions on Sunday. So from here on out, expect a tighter 90 minutes each week, 10 p.m.-ish to 11:30 p.m.-ish. Pacing always can change or whatever, but that's going to be the normal schedule going forward. If we can ever start earlier, then we will try to do that. But for now, it just seems like that's what we're going to land on. I know this is a major change. Like I said, we've been doing Fridays for nearly a decade. I do appreciate everyone's patience and support. It's going to be really weird for us for a while too. But ultimately, we believe it'll be a hugely positive change for our group, and we can continue having fun with friends each week and sharing those shenanigans with all of you. Thank you all so much for watching, commenting, liking, subscribing, Patreoning, etc. We will see you Friday for Gate Baldering and Sunday for Dungeons & Dragons.